Well, Inktober is halfway over already. I can hardly believe it. It's just whizzing past. I am finding it quite tiring this year because I'm working on bigger paper and putting more detail in, so it's taking me a lot longer to actually finish my pictures. In previous years I worked on tiny artist tiles and my pictures just taken sometimes just minutes, but I wanted to concentrate a bit more this year on the slightly bigger size. So I have my Inktober sketchbook. Every year I have a sketchbook that I put all my rough ideas into, and it is a very messy sketchbook. You shouldn't worry about messing up your sketchbook. What's a good idea is to have two sketchbooks, one for your just messy general ideas and messing about, and then have another one that you can put your actual drawings into that you can keep neater and tidier. And it's just a nice way that I find of doing things. You don't need a really expensive sketchbook for pen and ink. This is a cartridge pad from WH Smith's. It's spiral bound. I always prefer to have spiral bound so you can fold the cover right back and it's not flapping about in the way. And this one is particularly nice because it has the sort of plastic cover, so you can wipe marks off of it, and also in the back it has a piece of card, so you have a nice solid surface. You can just sit with this on your knee. Now what I tend to do is on the first page from my rough sketchbook I write all the prompts down and I tick them off every day as I work through my book. Now, just to show you how it is quite messy, my sketchbook last year was actually quite tidy, but on the one page on the right hand side I'll write the prompt, some notes, and I'll just scribble about and get rough ideas of how I want my picture to be. And then when I've chosen my colours and my pens, I'll put them all down on the left hand side of the page, and that way I've got a record. If I want to go back later, which quite often I find with Inktober, I'll go back at a later date and I will improve on my picture. So there's always on my desk, there's lots of little scraps of paper here, and I just keep all the little scraps, never throw little bits of cut off away or pictures that have gone wrong, because you can use them for practicing and sorting out your colours. So what I've got here is day one. Now this is Saturn. And I wanted to do the rings. I knew this would be a real challenge for me because I do have problems with my vision and I've got shaky hands. I felt quite rushed with it. I know I could do better on this, and it's definitely one that I'll improve on in the future. I'm working on mainly Clairefontaine paint on paper, which is either in black or white, and I have used some Derwent watercolour paper because I want a fairly thick paper that I can add a wash of ink and some water to if I want to. So that was day one. Day two was mindless, and it really puzzled me, what can I do that's mindless? And then I thought about doing a puppet, and then I remembered this picture that I did in 1977, a very long time ago, of a rag doll that I'd actually made. And I decided to get this picture out, use it as a reference, and this is the modern version of it. And it's really nice to see, compare your drawing from way back until how it is in the present. And a thing that I found was really interesting is the pens I had as well were so much finer, and I think it's really nice that we now have such a wonderful selection of ink pens, from very fine to very broad to brush pens, and it gives you so much variety for your work. Something I didn't mention is on the back of each one I will put the day, the year and the prompt, and I've got to find something to put these A5 pictures in. I have an album that fits my artist tiles, but I don't have anything currently that's acid free to keep in my A5 pictures. So this was day three, which was bait, and I'd thought about a carrot on a stick. Now when Jake Parker originally started Inktober, the idea was to do a black picture, a black ink picture on white paper, and it's really progressed these days, and he really doesn't mind whether you use colour or anything. So I'm trying to do black and white and grey mainly, but sometimes you really need a bit of colour. Now day 4 was freeze, and I tried to be ambitious and do an actual ice sculpture of a snowflake. It didn't work out. I was running out of time, so I ended up just doing a snowflake, and there were some colours in here, very subtle colours. And you can see all these pictures in detail on the Facebook page. And day 5 was build, and I had Lego bricks out from a workshop that I was doing where we used Lego bricks to create some texture. So I just thought, why not just do Lego bricks? So I did, and again colour. Day 6 I messed up badly. It was, I can't remember what it was, husky was the actual word. And I started off and I was working with my ink pens and I messed up the second eye, and then I ran out of time, so I cut out the first eye, and it's just loose at the moment, but I'm going to stick that onto the card. But you can see I was working with layers of colour and I got the second eye just too wet. The paper went soggy, I couldn't retrieve it. It's very disappointing, but it was meant to be a band across the face with both eyes. It's really hard to get the second eye to match, but there we go. Mistakes happen. You have to do the best you can at the time. Day 7 was really fun. I worked on this sketch here. It's actually white paper. You can see the back's completely white. I've covered every single little bit of this with colour. Now this was based on some photos I took. I went to an electric forest many years ago. My grandchildren were quite tiny, and they looked very tiny walking through the forest, and we suddenly came across this door that was actually glowing. It was glowing red, but we were all too scared to go through the door. But I've changed it into yellow, and the littlest girl, she has a wand because this was enchanted, this prompt. There is a list of prompts on the page, by the way, on the Facebook page. So I tried not to make it too scary, but there is a story that I've sort of written behind this. I'm always writing stories I used to write for my children and for the children I used to babysit for, and now I'm sort of just bringing out my old stories and trying to illustrate them. But I have got a story that goes with this, and I'm going to do more illustrations, but I had so much fun with this. So this was imagination, but I did have a few reference pictures which I used to sort of just get an idea, but it has been changed. So there's like bits from different photographs in here, and then some imagination and just changing it around, because obviously my granddaughter didn't have an enchanted wand with her, but it would have been fun. So that was just purely fun, and took me quite a bit of time, but I massively enjoyed it. And all of these pictures could be improved, but that is the really nice thing about Inktober, is you do a picture, you have to finish the picture on the day. The challenge is to do the ink picture in a day. If you mess up, you make the best of it. The thing is, put something up there, whether it's good or it's bad. It doesn't really matter. I mean, some people will only show their work if it's absolutely wonderful and perfect. My work is very rarely perfect. So you adapt, you do what you can, and I think there is a thing where people are scared to show their pictures because people will make fun of them. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. As I said in my welcome video, it doesn't matter if nobody else likes your work, as long as you enjoy the process. And you might not be happy with your work. I'm very rarely ever happy with a picture. I don't think I've ever done a perfect picture. I probably never will. But the thing is, you can always do better, and the more you paint, the more you draw, the better you get. But the most important thing is to get out there, to have a go, and to just enjoy what you're doing.